All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continually teach us this truth. And peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's laboring in this word of true sincerity. All right, Lord willing, this could be an edifying lesson. And the title is going to be The Third Will Cometh Quickly. Lord willing, this ain't a long lesson, but as we've been seeing lately in the news, we're coming closer to the time where it's going to be a third world war, which the scriptures call it Armageddon. And this war is going to lead to the second coming of the Messiah, which his name is Yahushua. All right, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And you see right here, I got an article. It says the rising threat of nuclear war in the world is the world most urgent. I'm gonna read it again. The rising threat of nuclear war is the most urgent matter in the world. And this is something that's being mentioned more and more because it's a lot of tensions going on right now. You got the tension between the Ukraine and Russia, which the Ukraine is a part of NATO, So they have allies. The U.S. is a part of NATO as well. So everything is being put into place. And it's another article. I was going to get it, but, I just mentioned it. You could look it up yourself. But it says Israel's, I believe it's their nuclear facility is being attacked. They have missile defense systems going off. So everything is coming to pass, which we know the MOB has to be made mandatory before Babylon the Great gets destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. But we see that the Lord is already putting the pieces into place, to fulfill his will. But anyway, I'm gonna read some of this article, then I'm gonna get some precepts. It says, there is no more urgent matter on earth than the looming possibility that everyone might die in a nuclear war. It's madness that we're not talking about it all the time. It says U.S. Strategic Command, the branch of the U.S. military responsible for America's nuclear arsenal, tweeted the following on Tuesday. The spectrum of conflict today is neither linear nor predictable. We must account for the possibility of conflict leading to conditions which could very rapidly drive an adversary to consider nuclear use as their least bad option. Right. Because the scriptures say the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. And all these kings on the earth, damn near all of them have a nuclear arsenal. North Korea have nukes. China, Russia, Iran, pretty much everybody has the capability to put a nuclear warhead on a ICBM missile. It says the statement, which Stratacom called a preview of the posture statement it submits to the U.S. Congress every year, was a bit intense for Twitter and sparked a lot of alarm responses, which I'm going to jump down. It says the U.S. has been ramping up aggressions with Russia in a way that has terrified experts, and it looks likely to continue doing so, right? Because you got the U.S. putting sanctions on Russia. Everything is beginning to come to pass. And we're getting ready to see, all these nations turn on America, which is Babylon the Great, which is prophesied in the scriptures. That, scriptures speak about how the beast shall hate the whore. speaks about these other nations turning on the whore. And then also in Obadiah it speaks about they that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, roughly paraphrasing, you know? So all these prophecies is coming to pass, and then you got the MOB here as well. you know? So we ain't got long. But anyway, I'm gonna read some more of this and I'm gonna get some precepts. It says these aggressions are further complicated on increasingly tense fronts like Ukraine, which is threatening to obtain nuclear weapons if it isn't granted membership to NATO. Oh, I thought the Ukraine was a part of NATO. It says if it isn't granted. Salakia. Let me look that up. When I looked it up, it said it was. It said they joined NATO and okay, the summit versus NATO made clear that Ukraine and Georgia will become NATO members one day. Oh, okay. Salakia for that. Ukraine joined NATO's enhanced. Yeah, see, this is why I thought NATO was a part of. I mean, the Ukraine was a part of NATO. You know, I should have fact checked that. You know, Salakia for that. Let me see. Okay, let me type that in. Who all is a part of NATO? Let's see. Trying to see if I could pull it up. Maybe if I click this, just to make sure. Okay, NATO's the okay. Okay. Yeah, Salakia for that. Like I said, I should have fact checked that just to verify. You know. But so the Ukraine is not a part of NATO. It's not a part of the EU as well. You know, I looked that up. You know, but okay, so they're threatening to obtain nuclear weapons. It says either of which would increase the risk of conflict. Aggressions against nuclear-armed China are escalating on what seems like a daily basis at this point, with potential flashpoints in the China seas. You know, so let me go ahead and get into some scriptures. All right, because the Bible prophesies. It speaks about World War One and World War II and World War III. You know, it speaks about the first war is past. Behold, two more woes come here after. You know, but this is Revelation chapter 11, verse 13. It says, I started verse 12, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And this is when the elect is delivered. It says, in the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High of heaven. You know, so this is thermonuclear destruction, because Yahweh Shah is coming right before the missiles penetrate Babylon. You know, he's coming in the midst of this third world war. It says the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly, which woe means destruction. And this is going to be the war to end all war. And I believe it was Albert Einstein. It was somebody that said World War III shall be fought with fire, but the war after that would be with sticks and stones. You know, you brothers know what I'm talking about. But this is the war to end all wars, because after this war is going to be eternal peace on the earth. But we know that this war is going to go nuclear. You know, let me get I believe it's Isaiah 9. Is it Isaiah 9? Yep, verse 5. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So the wars in the ancient world, you know, it was more gory and brutal because it was up close and personal. You know, whether you had a sword, an axe, your hands, whatever. The far range would be bow and arrows, or if you was to throw a spear, you know. But that's how the wars was. But this war is going to be, it said, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, because this is going to be a nuclear war. This war is going to end in a nuclear holocaust. Okay, World War II, when the atomic bombs were first, on the scene, they used what they called the little boy and the big boy on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You know, and the nukes they have today are way more stronger than the atomic bombs that they used during that time, and there's still radiation in those lands, which Japan they're talking about they're going to dump, a lot of that into the ocean. Which is another reason why Yahweh Shah got to come back. But anyway, reading it again, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And we see that is you can't say it's a conspiracy no more. Because this is being talked about more and more. And let me get that article I mentioned. Alarms go off near Israel's nuclear reactor amid reports of explosions and missile defense system being activated. You see? And their nuclear facility has been being targeted. That's why their top nuclear general, he was assassinated. A couple days ago, or maybe a week ago, you had a blackout go on at Iran's, I believe it was Iran's nuclear facility. No, I'm talking about Salakia. I'm talking about Iran when I mentioned their nuclear general, not Israel. But Israel is backed by who? The U.S. So the Lord is putting everything, he's putting all the pieces together on the board to put Babylon in checkmate. But anyway, let me get some more precepts. This is Malachi 4:1. It says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." So this is what? That thermonuclear destruction. It say all the proud and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. Lead on neither root nor branch. Isaiah the 13th chapter says what? "And Babylon shall be as when the Lord overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah." How was Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed? By fire and brimstone. So this place is going out by fire. We real close. We real close to all hell breaking loose. You got the National Guard still being dispersed throughout the states. The Lord is working. And I can get some more precepts, but I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. I don't want to make this video too long. But as we see, the third woe is coming fast. But first, the MOB has to be pushed on a big scale, and then, Luke, what is that? Luke, what is that? I think it's Luke 18. "I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven." Once they push this chip, that we ain't, the nuclear war could happen very, very, soon. It could be a couple weeks or months. We know it won't be long. But anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.